we are going to discuss in detail regarding this division Pteridophyta. See, Greek terminology. Pteris refers to fern and phyton refers to plants. That's why these pteridophytes are commonly called as ferns. Yes, pteridophytes, ferns. Pteridophytes are commonly called as ferns, and these pteridophytes, they are the first land plants with the vascular bundles or vascular tissue like xylem and phloem, and the vascular tissue xylem and phloem which appears for the first time, and also they are belongs to cryptogams. See, there you can find that what the plant kingdom is divided into two categories based on the seed habit, based on the formation of seeds and absence of seeds. If seeds are not present, then it is called as cryptogams. Cryptogams cannot produce seeds. Phanerogams produce seeds. The cryptogams are divided into three divisions called Thallophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta. And phanerogams are divided into Gymnospermae and Angiospermae. See, these pteridophytes belongs to cryptogams and they are having vascular bundles. So they are said to be, pteridophytes are said to be vascular cryptogams. So they are said to be vascular cryptogams. So they are commonly called lower vascular cryptogams. And when we move towards that salient features, like where we can find, that is what the living place of the plant we called habitat. The living place of the plant called habitat. See, these plants are seen in moist, cool, shady places. That is the habitat of the plant, and they are the first land plants. They are having vascular bundles. Along with that, this plant body is said to be sporophyte. Plant body is called sporophyte. Means whatever plant body which is visible, the plant body is called sporophyte. It can be differentiated into root, stem and leaves. Before to that, what we have learned, Bryophyta and algae. In that, plant body cannot be differentiated into root, stem and leaves. But here we can differentiate the plant body into root, stem and leaves where they are not thalloid. These plants are not thalloid because we can differentiate them. And visible plant body, is called sporophyte. Visible plant body is called sporophyte, and it will be diploid in nature. Moreover, plant body can be differentiated into root, stem and leaves. Plant body can be differentiated with the root, stem and leaves. This is what the plant body called sporophyte. Seeing leaves, when you think of that leaves are of two types. Leaves may be small and may be big, or large leaves can be seen. That what? Two types of leaves. In that, if the leaves they are small, these leaves are said to be microsporophyll. And if the leaves they are large leaves can be seen, these leaves are said to be megasporophyll. Where we can find this? See, this microsporophyll that can be seen in examples like the Selaginella. That can be seen in Selaginella, and megasporophylls that can be seen in case of example that can be seen in ferns. And these megasporophyll means larger leaves, they are also called frond. Yes, this is the plant body, general plant body. That what the sporophyte, the plant body is called a sporophyte. It can be differentiated into root, stem and leaves. In the plant body, stem is underground. This is the underground stem, and which is having a brown colored the scales. The brown colored scales can be seen. The brown colored scales, they are called ramata. Ramata, it means that they are scales. And the underground stem is called rhizome. Underground stem is called rhizome. On the surface of rhizome, they are having minute brown colored scales. The scales called ramata. And rhizome produces minute hair-like structures called adventitious roots. They are called adventitious roots. Where above the soil surface, we can find the presence of leaves. See, example, this is a fern. Previously I told, ferns having megasporophylls, means the leaves will be large. The leaves are large. So this is what the leaves are called fronds. In that the young leaves which shows inward coiling, the inward coiling of nature, this is called circinate. Circinate vernation, which is called as a circinate vernation. Only young leaves are during young condition, leaves which shows inward foldings called circinate vernation, and they are said to be mature leaves. They are called fronds, and on either side they are having these structures. The structures which form on either side, they are called as leaflets. They are called as leaflets. We used to call it as leaflets. The leaflets can be seen of it. See, if we observe, this is the leaflet. Towards the ventral side, lower surface, the leaves, this is what the leaflets, they are having the specialized structures called sori, or we can call it as a sorus, singular called sorus and plural called sori. See, there we can find how the sori will be. So in the diagrammatic view, we can find the presence of sori, and these sori that will be present in the lower surface of the leaves, and they are what? The reproductive structures. So during season, in the lower surface of the leaves, there will be formation of spore bearing structures. The spore bearing structures called sori. Within the sori, they contain sporangia. Within the sori, they contain sporangia. Plural name called sori and singular called as sorus. Within the sorus, they contain sporangia, and sporangia, it shows or it contains that what? Spore mother cells. It contains spore mother cells. These spore mother cells, they undergo meiosis. This is meiosis is called reductional division. See, the plant body is called sporophyte and which is diploid. And the plant body towards the ventral surface, it produces sori or sorus. And these sori which is having sporangia. So sporangia is nothing but spore bearing structures. Spore bearing structures are called sporangia. That sporangia having spore mother cells, yes, SMC, spore mother cells. All that happens in the sporophytic plant body, that is a diploid plant body. And this is what the diploid spore mother cell which undergo meiosis. So meiosis is called a reductional division. So because of that, it leads to formation of 4 haploid spores. That leads to formation of 4 haploid spores. Yes, in this condition, see, when we think of sori and sorus, but in some plants, when we look towards some plants, in some plants, that sporangia, this sporangia, it forms aggregation, it forms a compact mass. The compact mass, the sporangia, that develops into the compact mass called cones or strobilus or strobilus. This condition can be seen only in some plants. We can find this where whatever this sporangia is there, the sporangia. So that what the sporangia that having spore mother cells, the sporangias can be seen within the sorus. And in where that what in case of ferns, this happens in case of ferns. In case of ferns, but in some plants, the sporangia develops into a aggregated mass called cones or strobilus or strobili, where it can be seen in plants like the cone nature or strobilus nature or the strobili. It can be seen in plants like Selaginella and in Equisitum. The Selaginella and Equisitum, we can find the presence of cone nature or strobili nature. But in case of ferns, we can find the presence of what we call as sori or sorus. Within the sori or sorus, we can find the presence of sporangia, and sporangia contains spore mother cells. These spore mother cells which are diploid, that gives rise to haploid spores. That gives rise to haploid spores. Well, now in these spores, basically spores are of 2 types. In Pteridophytes, spores are of 2 types. Means some of the spores, in majority of the Pteridophytes, the spores they are of same type, so they are called as homospores. In majority of the Pteridophytes, the spores which are of same type, all the spores which are formed, they are of same type, hence they are called homosporous. But in few plants like Salvinia, the spores are of different types, so called heterospores. Heterospores can be seen. So what is the heterospores? What are the 2 types that we called microspores? Microspores and megaspores. Microspores and megaspores, due to the presence of this kind of condition like microspores and megaspores, where they are called heterospores. So whatever the spores which formed because of meiosis from the spore mother cell, these spores are of 2 types called homosporous condition and heterosporous condition. Majority of the Pteridophytes, they are having homosporous nature, and few plants they are having heterosporous nature. Heterosporous refers to some of the spores will be large and some of the spores will be small. That's what we call microspores and megaspores. See, for example for heterosporous, which is Selaginella, and also we can give Salvinia. Selaginella and Salvinia, that examples for heterosporous Where when coming to competitive point of view, where they used to ask regarding heterosporous, in which group or in which plants we can find heterosporous nature. So generally they are going to ask competitive questions. The haploid spores, they fall on suitable media and they undergo germination. After germination, they gives a gametophytic, or they give gametophyte. The gametophyte is called Protallus. The gametophyte is called Protallus. So in previous, that what the division called Bryophyta, we learned regarding Protonema, primary Protonema or secondary Protonema. But here I am saying that Protallus. Protallus is the gametophyte. Up to Bryophytes, the plant body is haploid. After Bryophytes, Pteridophytes, Gymnosperms, Angiosperms, the plant body is a sporophyte, which is 2N. 2N will be there. That what the sporophytic plant body which produces spores, that spores that germinate gives rise to gametophytic plant called Protallus. Generally, Protallus, it will be like a heart-shaped structure, hence we called photosynthetic heart-shaped Protallus. See, as we move towards the gametophyte, the spores that develops into gametophyte called Protallus. See, this Protallus, which is generally small, multicellular, free living. It means that gametophyte will not depend on the sporophyte. That's why the Protallus, which is free living, small, multicellular, free living, photosynthetic, mostly photosynthetic. That what we call it as Protallus. So when the spore mother cell SMC, which undergo meiosis, that leads to formation of haploid spores. Haploid spores. These haploid spores, they undergo germination. That leads to formation spores which undergo germination, initially which produces the small Protallus, and the Protallus that develops into an heart-shaped structure. Generally, which is an heart-shaped structure, and between the two lobe-like structure, it is having a point called apical notch. And towards the lower surface of the Protallus, which produces minute unicellular hair-like structure. Minute unicellular hair-like structures, they are called rhizoids. Rhizoids, they are unicellular, and see, between these rhizoids there will be formation of the male reproductive structure. The male reproductive structure is called antheridia. The male reproductive structure is called antheridia, that will be formed towards the lower surface, and towards the apical notch, whatever the point we can find, this is called apical notch. Towards the apical notch, there is a formation of a female reproductive structures. These female reproductive structures are called archegonia. Now, see, when we think of that antheridia and archegonia, antheridia is the male reproductive structure, or we can call it male gametophyte. Antheridia, which produces male gametes, called anthrozoids. Or we can call it as biflagellated spiral sperms. That means the sperms which looks like a spiral coil. So that is what called as anthrozoids. See, they are called anthrozoids. Biflagellated anthrozoids are formed within the antheridia. And in the archegonia, where there is a formation of female gamete called large non-motile egg. The formation of large non-motile egg. Here, the male gamete is called, see, the male gamete is called anthrozoids, or we can call biflagellated sperms. Many anthrozoids are biflagellated sperms that will be formed, and in the archegonia it produces a single ova. It produces a single ova. So during fertilization, whatever these anthrozoids are there, the anthrozoids that releases to water, by the help of this flagella, they swim in the water and they contact the egg, or they enter into the archegonia. They enter into the archegonia and it fuses with the egg cell. The fusion of biflagellated anthrozoid with the egg in the archegonia called fertilization. So after the fusion of, this is what, egg and anthrozoid, that leads to formation of a zygote. Zygote is the product of fertilization. So after that, the zygote which develops into sporophyte. That develops into sporophyte. The sporophyte which is diploid. See, egg is haploid, anthrozoid is haploid plus haploid, n plus n, that leads to formation of zygote, which is 2n. The 2n we call it as sporophyte. That zygote develops into sporophyte. One thing we have to keep remember here, that see, that fusion of male gamete with the female gamete which happens in the archegonia, means archegonia is the female gametophyte. This is the first stage or beginning of seed habitat. This shows the beginning of seed habitat. So that's what regarding in detail regarding the division Pteridophyta. See, when coming to classification, the classification of Pteridophytes. The classification of Pteridophytes. Pteridophytes are basically classified into 4 classes. In that the first class is Psilotopsida, and second one, see, the first one is Psilotopsida, second one is Lycopsida, and the third class is Spinopsida, and the fourth one is Pteridophyta. And when we think of example for Psilotopsida, see, example is Psilotum. Psilotum is example. And example for Lycopsida, this is what example is Selaginella. And example for Spinopsida, it is said to be what horse tail, we call Equisetum. Equisetum is example. And example for Pteridopsida for this is Adiantum. Adiantum is example. And also Pteris. So they are examples that what basically classification, when we think of classification, it is divided into 4 classes. The first one, class Psilotopsida, example Psilotum. Second one, class Lycopsida, example Selaginella. The third class Spinopsida, example Equisetum. And the fourth class is said to be Pteridopsida, example Adiantum, Pteris, Diapteris. You can find. See, Diapteris, this example we are going to learn in first few practicals. That Diapteris is also called silver fern. And this Equisetum is also called horse tail. So we can find some of the examples on the board.